My next guest, her name is Sibel Edmond.
We turn now to Sibel Edmond.
We are talking about money laundering.
You used the word treat.
The State Department asked the Bureau not to investigate it. American people have the right to know this.
I'm sorry, but the word Israel is just screaming on the inside of me.
The nuclear and the drugs is a global game. You have to look at the connection.
Sibel Edmonds, born to a Turkish family in Iran, spent 6 months as a translator for the FBI. It put her at the heart of a major intelligence scandal. In June 2002, the scandal broke in the Washington Post. Sibel and a colleague, John Cole, alleged that spies had infiltrated the FBI Language Services section. It all started the previous year. One morning in September 2001.
I never planned to be a language specialist. This was not what I was planning.
Do not go down the ground. You will get trapped. You will get trapped.
4 days after September 11, I got this phone call, and they said they really needed my services, and they had completed the background check. And when could I start? There were all these documents, there were all these audio tapes that needed to be translated. There were all these people who had been detained, and they needed to interrogate them. And most of these people didn't speak English.
Our first effort is to identify any associates related to the hijackers.
Victory will come over time.
Responded immediately.
And at that point, the chaos of that time period with September 11, and it was, how could you say no? When I got there, I had no idea what exactly I was going to do for them. See, this department, this language division in the FBI, is considered the highest security unit in the FBI.
Sibel Edmonds lived in Istanbul and Tehran to the age of 18. She speaks Turkish, Farsi, and Azeri. The FBI recruited her to translate wiretaps in Turkish that it had recorded inside the United States. The targets were suspected of espionage or of having links with terrorist organizations. By December 2001, Sibel had been working at the FBI for 2 months. Then, one Sunday morning, she and her husband Matthew got a call that would turn their lives upside down.
Sibel had been working for the FBI about 2 months after the 9/11 occurrence. And one Sunday morning, we received a call. One of the other translators in the department where she worked in the FBI called up and said that she would like to come over and introduce her husband to us. We had never met her husband. My wife, of course, had met the other translator. Her name is Melik Jan Dickerson. Her husband's name was Douglas Dickerson. I was seated here. Sibel was seated beside me. Melik Dickerson was seated in his chair here, and Douglas Dickerson was seated over here. The husband did most of the talking. And he started out right away giving a background, telling us who he was. He had worked for the Air Force both in Turkey and in some of the Central Asian republics. He described how they had met in Turkey, the fact that he had been in Turkey, the fact that he was in the arms procurement business. He worked for the government. Liaison with various countries in the region doing weapons procurement. But fairly rapidly, he started to describe the fact that he had friends in the Turkish community. He wanted to know whether or not we knew about some of the Turkish organizations. And I said that, well, I thought you need to have some sort of business relationship with Turkey or a reason to be a member of that organization. He at that point said, "You, Sibel, all you have to do is tell them who you are and what you do, and you can be a member of that organization, and then you can retire with a very good life."
Sibel realized she had been approached by spies who had penetrated the FBI Language Services section.
And then we escorted them to the door and wished them good day. I didn't know at the time, had no idea that what had just taken place was going to have such a dramatic effect on our lives and had such a devastating effect on Sibel.
How had Melik Dickerson infiltrated the Language Services section? And what was this mysterious organization the Dickersons were involved with?
Initially, I reported all the stuff to my supervisor in December 2001, and nothing happened. And actually, I was told to just hush it and not talk about it. So I reported to somebody in the mid-management. And then this retaliation started. You know, they were taking away my job assignments, and I would go on my computer, and I had real urgent documents that were requested by certain agents from certain field offices, and I couldn't bring them up on my computer. My computer was confiscated, and the attitudes toward me in that department by a supervisor that I was working for. So I said, well, this is time for me to take it to the highest level, to the headquarters, and to Director Mueller and his assistant. And I did that. And that even backfired more.
For Robert Mueller, the director of the FBI, Sibel had become an embarrassment. The reprisals intensified. Sibel was taken to a building in Chinatown for a lie detector test.
Oh, they asked me like things about security, whether or not I was approached by spies and to be recruited, which I said yes.
While Sibel's colleague, Melik Dickerson, was assigned to translate the Turkish wiretaps, some of which targeted her mysterious friends, Sibel's work came to an abrupt end.
It was March 22nd.